Welcome back to Pragmatic Presence. While this journey is not linear, there are definitely certain points that each person will experience. And one of the first things is the urge, the itch. Whatever catalyst or series of events or anything that brings a person to wanting to learn more. Just calling it the itch or the urge, whenever I use these words, we use the terms loosely, but it's the thing that was the spark or the inspiration to get you to this point or to whatever point where you knew there's more to life, or you are sick to death of living the way you've previously been living. Maybe you've held the mirror up and you've got to a point in life where you are really starting to hold yourself accountable for your bad habits, or you maybe realized that there's certain patterns and behaviors keep bringing you to a point that is a dead end. Whatever we'd like to call it. Like I mentioned in my previous video, it felt like mine had crept up on me. It hadn't. I was just oblivious to what was working in the background. And oftentimes with spiritual awakenings, that's why it can hit us so hard. Because you get to hold the mirror up to yourself and see, wow, this is what I've been doing. With those realizations, they can be really earth-shattering. When I talk about the itch, let's start with that one first. This can be people who, they're seeking. They are seekers. They're people who question more. Maybe you've been outcasted at a certain point in your life, or you're going through a breakup. Maybe you've noticed this pattern in your life that you've been oblivious to up until this point, where it's just more of the same, and it's something you are sick of living. And you're finally starting to break free from that. You might not know where to look. You might not know how to get through, or whatever we'd like to call it. But you just know that it's time for change. That is the main thing. The urge, the itch, that curiosity. That's one thing in common that all of these people have who are starting their awakening journey. It doesn't always come through choice. It will often feel like there is a choice, but it's actually a combination of the two. These life events and your reactions to those life events, both, if you are lucky, because sadly we don't all get to awaken, most of us never will, but if we are lucky enough for life events and our reaction to those to put us on course to awaken, then wow, you are lucky. Even though it's going to be the most painful, hardest thing you've ever been through. Yeah, the itch. It's where the curiosity comes from, to learn more. It could feel like a thirst or an urge, like we say, but it's all really the same. Whatever brings you to the point where you can no longer live the way you were previously living. It could feel obsessive. It can feel dark. You could feel completely lost. You could feel like everything in your life up to that point no longer has meaning in it. You probably don't get the same satisfaction doing things that you previously did. And that can be really hard hitting. It can be really hard to explain that to the people around you. You can't explain it to them. Especially not in a way that is simply a conception, or shall we say, like a conceptualization of the experience you embody and feel. It cannot be translated that way. Another person can only understand that urge, itch, or thirst if they're experiencing it, embodying it, feeling it themselves, right? So where am I going with this? Well, if you are at that stage, or you've been through that stage, it will be multifaceted. You'll have many of them. But in the beginning, that initial one, wow, you need to exhaust it. It's the only way through. What did I do? Read every book. Listened to thousands of hours of audiobooks. Searched my inner world through meditation. You name it. But that's the only way you can get through the urge, the itch, the thirst. Whatever you would like to call it in your journey, that's okay. But yeah, that you have to burn through it. You have to exhaust it. That's what the awakening process is. Whether subconsciously we burn through that thing, that way is probably the longer way. But if you can consciously start to become more aware of what you're doing subconsciously, then you can proactively burn through that stuff. I think with my first awakening, I clearly subconsciously burned through it. But then thereafter, I was able to consciously start to work through my own bullshit. And so yeah, if you are in that place right now where you're starting to realize a bit more about yourself and the world around you, and things don't look like they once did, or you just feel like you need answers to something, like I did, then congratulations. You're probably in a very good place right now. But when you're going through it, it probably won't feel fun. So I also, again, have nothing but love for you there. Yeah, imagine if you are seeking, the irony is you won't be able to find the thing. And if you have this thirst for knowledge or for more awareness or love or to fill in some void, that's what it will feel like. You're trying to fill a void because all these previous things in your life will no longer fulfill you in the way they once did. So of course you're going to look for things to try and replace that. Everything you try and replace it with won't work, but you will have to find that out for yourself. You won't be able to scratch that itch. You might be able to temporarily get rid of it, but that urge will keep coming back. All you can do is pay attention, surrender to it, and fuck around and find out. Exhaust everything. And that might sound a little contradictory because I said on this channel I want to fast track in any way your spiritual journey to get to where you deserve to be, even though it's a forever unfolding process. But yeah, my best advice is surrender to those urges. Surrender to that itch. Go with it. If you have a desire to read this book, to listen to me, to go do meditations, to go to a retreat, to turn your back on it for a little while, to exercise, whatever, go and exhaust that thing. If you feel an urge to follow a certain direction on your spiritual path, fulfill that desire. Let yourself do it. Go and do the thing. You have to burn it. You have to spend it. Because the urge comes right before the purge. Yeah, it really does. And the itch can be a bitch. I don't have any rhymes for the thirst. But yeah, keep going. And keep holding the mirror up. And you will see breakthroughs. Just don't put a time scale on it. That's one of the worst things you could probably do, is put a time scale on it or try and measure it, or compared to other people's spiritual practices, or how quickly or whatever evolved state you think they got to. It doesn't matter. Your journey can only unfold in one way, and it will all make sense every time you hit the next realization. You'll be like, oh yeah, shit. It couldn't have happened any other way, because I wasn't in a place where I could have received the message any other way. That's what the urge, the purge, and the thirst are. Sorry, the urge, the itch, and the thirst are. They come right before the first purge or that big awakening. I'll see you in the next video.